If I told you that the Social Security check hitting your bank account every month might not be the right amount, not because of a glitch, not because of some new law, but because of a mistake that happened years ago, maybe even decades ago, that nobody ever caught, nobody ever fixed, and that has been quietly shrinking your monthly income ever since. Here's what makes this really frustrating. Social Security calculated your benefit using a file they built about you, a record of every dollar you ever earned, your whole working life. And that file, the one your monthly check is based on, was built from information sent in by your employers, run through payroll systems, and recorded by hand during a time when mistakes weren't just possible, they were common. If that file has even one wrong year in it, your benefit is lower than it should be. And right now, today, you are getting less money than you are legally supposed to get. My name is Mark. Today I'm going to show you exactly where to look, what to look for, and what to do if you find something wrong. Because the fix is simpler than most people expect, and the result is a permanent increase to your monthly check. Stay with me all the way through. The step-by-step process is in the second half, and you don't want to miss it. Real quick, if this is your first time here, subscribe right now and turn on the bell notification. Here's why that actually matters. Social Security rules, numbers, and correction steps change regularly. When they do, the SSA does not send you a personal update explaining what changed and what it means for your specific situation. That's the entire reason this channel exists. To track those changes and explain them in plain language before they affect your income. People subscribed here stay ahead of it. Everyone else tends to find out after the fact. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and let's get into this. Let's start with understanding exactly how your monthly benefit was calculated. Because once you understand the process, the problem becomes really obvious. When you became eligible for Social Security, the SSA pulled your earnings record. That record contains every year you ever worked in America, going all the way back to your very first job. From that record, they found your 35 highest earning years, adjusted those numbers for inflation, averaged them together, and used a formula to get your monthly benefit amount. That number became your baseline, and in most cases, it has stayed your baseline ever since. Here's where the hidden mistake comes in. Every single year in that earnings record came from somewhere. It came from your employer, who was legally required to report your wages to the SSA. Most of the time, that reporting was accurate, but not always. During the 1970s, 1980s, and into the 1990s, payroll reporting was mostly done by hand. People typed in the data manually. Numbers got flipped around, names got misspelled, and records got mixed up. An entire year of wages sometimes got filed under the wrong Social Security number and simply never made it onto your record at all. The SSA recorded what they received. If what they received was wrong, your record is wrong. And if your record is wrong, your monthly benefit is wrong. Here's what that actually costs in real money. According to SSA guidelines, a single year of earnings that was missing or way underreported can reduce your monthly benefit by about $100. That's $1,200 per year. Over a 20-year retirement, that one uncorrected mistake costs you $24,000 in income you were entitled to, but never received. And for people who worked through those manual processing decades, which describes most retirees today, having 2 or 3 problem years in your record is not unusual at all. The financial damage multiplies from there. The part that really gets people when they hear this is simple. Nobody told them to check. The SSA sent the benefit amount, the deposit started showing up, and everyone assumed that if the government calculated it, it must be right.
That assumption is costing some of you real money every single month. Now, here's what I want you to hold on to before we get into the how-to part. This is fixable. Even now. even if you've been receiving Social Security for years. The SSA has an official correction process made specifically for earnings record errors. When you find a mistake, document it, and send in a correction request, the SSA reviews it. If the correction checks out, they update your earnings record and recalculate your monthly benefit using the corrected numbers. Your check goes up permanently, starting with the very next payment after the correction is processed. I do want to be straight with you about one limitation. The higher amount applies going forward. The months or years you were underpaid before you filed the correction are generally not recoverable.
Back pay, unfortunately, isn't part of the process. But here's the thing. The sooner you find it and fix it, the more months of the correct, higher amount you collect going forward. Every month you wait is another month at the wrong number. So let's get into exactly how to do this.
Step 1. Get to your earnings record. Go to ssa.gov. You need a My Social Security account. If you already have one, log in. If you don't, you can create one for free. You'll need a valid email address and a few minutes to verify your identity on the site. It's straightforward, and the SSA walks you through it. Once you're logged in, go to your Social Security statement. Inside that statement is your earnings history, a year-by-year list of every amount of income the SSA currently has on record for you, going all the way back to the start of your working life. That list is what we're checking. Step 2, know what you're looking for. There are 2 specific types of errors worth going after. The first is a completely missing year, a year where you know you had a job and were getting paychecks, but your SSA record shows 0, or nothing at all for that year. This is the most common and most costly type of error. The second is a year where the number recorded is way lower than what you actually earned. Not a tiny bit lower, significantly lower. Enough that it clearly doesn't match your real income for that time period. One important note so you don't chase something that isn't actually an error. The SSA only records earnings up to a maximum taxable amount for each year. If you were a higher earner in any particular year, your record will show the cap for that year rather than your full income. That's not a mistake. That's just how the system works. What you're looking for are years that are blank or years where the number seems way too low based on what you were actually making at the time. Step 3, compare against your own records. This is where your personal paperwork becomes really valuable. Chucks, 2 forms are the most useful documents you can have for this process. A W-2 shows exactly what your employer reported to the federal government for that tax year. If your SSA record shows a different number, enum, or no number at all, for a year where your W-2 clearly shows earnings, that's a documented mistake worth correcting. Old tax returns work too. Pay stubs if you kept them. Any official document that shows what you were actually paid in a given year. Go through your SSA earnings history year by year and compare it against whatever records you have. Pay extra attention to your earlier working years. The 1970s, 80s, and early 90s was when manual payroll processing made mistakes significantly more likely. Step 4, file the correction. If you find a discrepancy, the form you need is the SSA-7008. It's called the Request for Correction of Earnings Record. You can download it directly from ssa.gov. The process is straightforward. Fill out the form, attach copies of your supporting documents, your W-2 or tax return showing the correct earnings, and submit it either to your local SSA office or by mail. Processing time varies. Small corrections can be resolved in a few weeks. More complicated situations can take up to 90 days. The SSA will let you know when the review is done. If the correction is approved and your record is updated, your benefit gets recalculated automatically using the corrected earnings history. Your next payment reflects the new higher amount. One more situation worth checking. If you've worked at all since you started collecting Social Security, even part-time, even just briefly, those recent earnings might also affect your benefit. Here's why. Your benefit is based on your 35 highest earning years. If a recent year of part-time work happens to be higher than one of your lowest earning years from early in your career, that recent year can replace the older, lower year in the calculation, bumping your average up and increasing your monthly check a little. The SSA is supposed to review this automatically every year and adjust your benefit if new earnings improve it. But that automatic adjustment doesn't always show up correctly on every account. If you've worked since retiring, log into your statement and confirm that those recent years are showing up in your earnings record and are being counted. Let me bring everything together. Your monthly Social Security check was calculated from an earnings record, built over decades, using data from your employers. That data wasn't always recorded perfectly, yeah? Especially for people who worked during the era of manual payroll processing. A single missing or incorrect year can reduce your monthly benefit by about $100, and that reduction is permanent until you catch it and correct it. The correction process is free. It uses a one-page form called the SSA-7008. It requires documents you may already have in a jacket, a W-2, or old tax return. And when it works, the result is a permanent increase to your monthly check going forward. Here's your action plan starting tonight. Go to ssa.gov, log into your My Social Security account, or create one if you don't have it yet. Open your earnings statement, go through the earnings history year by year, look for years that are blank or way lower than what you remember earning. Pull out whatever records you have, W-2s, tax returns, pay stubs, and compare. If you find a discrepancy, download Form SSA-7008, attach your documentation, and submit it. That's the entire process. It costs you nothing. It takes less than an hour, and if your record has even one error in it, fixing it means more money in your account every single month for the rest of your life. If this video helped you understand something about your Social Security that you didn't know before, share it with someone you know who is retired or getting close to retirement. This is exactly the kind of information that gets missed, simply because nobody ever brings it up. Subscribe if you haven't already, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.